streaming already.
Let's see. Still saying offline here.
Takes a few seconds.
20 seconds. Now it should be receiving, I guess.
Oh, it's telling me that I'm dropping frames by some reason.
Oh.
Now I'm no longer dropping frames.
I'm seeing it. Yep.
It's working?
I see it now. Yeah.
Okay, that's good. Let me refresh here.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. Can see myself duplicate as well. And we're also live on Google. And it should also be live on Twitter.
Oh, I've got the echo now. Marvelous.
Yeah, you need to mute
the. Yep.
Yeah, you have to mute the Twitch thing.
I might just close Twitch. I don't think I need to see that.
Hey Metal Voids, welcome to the stream.
This demo is really metal, by the way.
This is like CPC demo?
Yeah. Really just like the garish colors of CPC. There's a lot of strong yellows and reds on the palette there.
Hello Limclock, welcome to the stream. So we still have half an hour to go, so I mean, if you have any particular demo that you want us to see before the show actually starts, this would be a great opportunity to request, and I'm saying this both to our guests and the people on the live stream. Shit, I'm dropping frames again. Why am I dropping frames? Stop dropping frames! I wonder if I should reduce the size of the stream. I might have to do that. Yeah, I'm doing 1080. I'm gonna stop the stream, change it to 720, and then restart the stream again just to make sure that it's not falling apart. See. Okay, so we should be streaming again, hopefully this time without dropping any frames. I did remember to save that nginx config, right? Wrong window. Yeah, it was saved, so we should be streaming to our stream, to Restream.io, and to SceneSet. No Facebook today, sadly enough. Oh, Desert version for the C64 version. Desert Dream for the C64.
Oh no, I can't chat on Twitch without logging into Twitch.
No, yeah, you'll need an account if you wanna talk.
Well, that's annoying.
Yeah. Gotta make the money of the streamers.
That's fair enough.
Yeah. Yeah, Twitch is really beating YouTube in the game streaming game right now.
Oh, they started
really it.
They started it first. I think YouTube only been having game streaming rather recently, like the last 5 years or something, and Twitch has been doing it a lot longer. Yeah, let's make a VIC-20 version of Desert Dream. Should be doable. Who wants to give a go at it?
Let me add some demos to the playlist here as well.
Hey Rimina, welcome to the stream.
Moi Rimina.
Yo, you follower? Trying to get if things are working with the scene set guys. Hey Nobi, welcome to the stream. Scene set guys are not seeing my stream. But I think it was exactly the moment when I stopped it to change back to 720. So that might be why. I hope today is finally the day that we will be able to do scene set. We've been trying to do it since the first episode of the second season. And there's always been some technical issue.
Hopefully.
Okay, I'm gonna go get myself a beer. And if you guys have to do your toilet runs, this is the perfect opportunity to do so. Still have 25 minutes to go for the show to officially start, so... Be right back.
In the meantime, I'm gonna add some demos to the playlist here.
Stella? Stella? Yes. Άντε. Θα κάνω σε λίγο δουλειά και δεν θα μπορώ να σου μιλήσω. Έλα.
This is a Commodore 1 reconfigurable computer. They were made in 2002 as a sort of ultimate emulation platform, capable of emulating a wide range of 8-bit home computers, including the C64. As a computer, it's remarkable because it doesn't have a CPU. Instead, it's based around 3 FPGAs and a bunch of memory chips. For historical reasons, this part of the Commodore 1 is called the extender board, and it can be detached from the rest of the computer. So I figured that if I restrict my demo to only run on the FPGA on this board, then I can move it and create a smaller replacement for the main board in order to have a portable demo platform. An FPGA is like a huge array of reconfigurable logic gates and registers that you can use as building blocks to create any digital circuit you want. For this demo, I designed my own CPU and then I cached the interface to the external memory. The demo is preloaded in the cache when the system boots. And I also made a blitter with pixel shader support, a VGA generator, and an FM synthesizer. So let's plug it in.
Let's plug it in.
Yeah, I love it. It's like, I've done something amazing. Let's just turn it on and see what happens.
Yeah. LFT is just so natural. It's fun to watch.
Okay, I'm back.
Hello.
Oh, since that guy said I still can't see this. Oh, what the fuck? I'm using exactly the same settings as previously. Oh, I know what's wrong. I'm streaming to Restream.io only instead of my local host server. Okay, so guys on the stream, I have to close this real fast. I will restart the stream almost immediately, I hope. So be right back. Okay, should be streaming again now. Let me check real quick if it's okay on Twitch. Yeah, seems to be working. Okay, time to check with the scene set guys if it's working fine there now. How about now? Limclock is asking what platform it is. Wasn't it CPC? Visy?
Oh no, this is the custom extender board on the Commodore 1, I think, LFP.
Ah, okay.
So, kind of custom hardware.
Custom hardware, because we can. Okay, Star says that will on, so... I think we will finally be also on SceneSet today.
We will be.
Yeah. Fnord is turning it on now, says that he can see the stream fine, so... Yep, it's on sceneset.com/video, so...
Excellent.
If anyone wants to spam it, you're free to do so.
So this is the most technically complex show you've done so far.
Well, most platforms at least.
Yeah.
Technically speaking, the previous one was working for SceneSet, for these, and for Facebook, but we were dropping frames like hell. And when I investigated it was because I don't have enough upstream to support 3 streams at the same time, so...
Okay.
But with 2 it works. So right now I'm only sending to Restream, and I'm sending to SceneSet, and Restream.io resends it to a few other places. But Restream.io doesn't support Facebook without you paying something like €5 a month, so that's why we don't have Facebook.
Okay.
What about on put? Did anyone spam on put? Let me check. Blah 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 blah. No. Okay, let me do that then.
See what the chat is saying here. Yeah, people are coming in. We have 11 people on Twitch.
Yeah, you can
Including
only,
us.
you can only write in this Twitch if you log in with Facebook.
Well,
no.
if you have a Twitch account.
Yeah, you can have another account. You can have a normal Twitch account.
Oh, why do they make it so hard?
They want users, you know. They want the user information.
They want the user.
Log in. Let's see. Connect with Facebook. I'll have to use somebody else's name.
Just use a temporary address, like Mailinator or something.
I'm melting.
Blop.
Put some Amiga stuff here in the meantime.
Amiga!
Amiga.
Notification sound off. Okay, that plop that we've been hearing should no longer be plopping. I hope. Guys that are watching on the stream, let us know on the volumes of things. If I'm too loud, if the demo is too low. I think the demo is definitely too low. Let me increase it a bit. Okay, now it should be more acceptable. And also our guests louder.
Good.
Lim on the chat, Lim Clock, yes, I know you from Yak Yak. I tried to type that earlier on, but I don't have an account on Twitch, so I can't. So I'll just tell you.
I know Lim Clock from the Scroll Irk channel.
Okay.
What demo is this, Visy?
Fastest prologue by Traction.
Ah.
It's a great one of my favorite Amiga demos ever. Yes, indeed, it is digitized video.
new technology for Amiga.
Yeah, like future technology.
Yeah, no one has ever thought about doing video on Amiga before.
No way. No way. Except in 92, 93, 94. Really nice track in this one by GLX BLT as well.
Yeah, I was about to say this is for the AGA, but I'm not sure which
Yeah.
AGA it is.
It's actually coded on Windows and then they just ported it to Amiga, so I guess this is like made in SDL or something like that. But yeah, that's why there's a Windows port of this, because this is originally coded for Windows. And then just a quick port to AGA.
Pom, 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 pom. Pom, pom, pom,
One of the
pom,
coders
pom,
in this
pom.
demo is actually one of the founders of Supercell, which is pretty fitting because I'm wearing this shirt which is a parody of the Supercell logo, with it saying Boo Assembly instead of Supercell.
I've only just realised that's a Boozemly Supercell
Yeah, exactly.
t-shirt.
It's definitely my favorite design of all of them.
Did they actually sponsor Boozemly as well? I know a few game companies were sponsoring, like with beer and stuff.
Also some like beer and sausages and stuff like that, and like sparkling wine, I think.
Sparkling wine for Boozemly.
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, some of the sponsoring has been pretty over the top some years, like basically like a kid's swimming pool, like a small inflatable pool full of beer and ice.
It's important.
Nice. That was really nice.
So refreshing.
You get thirsty in the demo party. Put some more Amiga demos here. This one is really good.
Amiga should be enough
Also
for
an
anyone.
open source demo as well, which is also fun. It's really cool when they put the demo source code on GitHub, so you can actually learn, like, they coded this mostly in C as well, so this is an Amiga 500 demo which was coded in C, which is not unusual. Just to learn how you can do a 500 demo with a high-level language like that. And this has some technically impressive parts as well.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
I have this tendency that sometimes I want to get into Amiga coding, but then I realize I don't even have time to do PC coding, so it quickly grows out of me.
It's a punishing platform to code for. AGA is pretty simple, but OCS is just, oh man, it's so difficult to get everything right. It's so easy to just do it a little bit incorrectly and it'll work perfectly on the emulator, and then you test on the real hardware and it will just explode on you basically. Yeah, it's not fun. Like, some platforms are fun to code for. Amiga is not one of them. Not for me at least. And I've done like 6 Amiga demos, so it's not a fun platform to code for.
No, you're just not Polish enough.
Yeah, I think I just don't have the patience. I came to Amiga later, like in 2000, so yeah. I have a different perspective than the fanboys. This demo is great, and that C code was really just eye-opening to see how they did all this. Yeah, Amiga demo makers just don't like sharing code in general. It's pretty difficult to find like modern demo source code for Amiga. It's usually the 90s stuff you find open source.
That's weird. I was thinking it'd be more of the kind of old school, not sharing code.
Yeah.
It seems like it's the opposite almost.
Some guy just released like 50 intros, all the source code of that for Amiga, so that's interesting to see, like 90s crack throws and stuff like that. Bunch of stuff they've actually disassembled as well and commented and stuff like that, so they went through their favorite crack throws, I guess, on Amiga and then just disassembled those.
But that was mostly like for OCS or for AGA stuff?
Yeah, OCS stuff, like old, like very early 90s stuff, most of them.
For those who just joined us, we still have 15 minutes or 12 minutes to go until the show actually starts. So we're just killing time, watching some demos. Yeah, if anyone has the links to the source codes that we just were talking about for the Amiga code, feel free to drop them on the chat. I think
So
I
where
drop
are all you
enabled.
located, by the way, physically? Because I'm in Sweden, of all places.
Yeah, I'm in Portugal as usual. I think the other two guys are in the UK.
Okay. Well, we're definitely spread around Europe pretty well right now.
Isn't the internet wonderful?
Yeah, it is.
I think this is pretty much what it was invented for.
Networking.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for when they get to the part where you can have a demo party in VR, like have 100 people connected to a VR simulation with a big screen. Maybe
That
one
would
day.
be interesting, actually.
Yeah, that's like we actually did something like that already in one of the VR chat apps, like with 3 people, but with 100 people, then I'm impressed.
And then you can really have a massive screen. I mean, you're no longer
Exactly.
limited by the size of the big screen.
And you can do like installation stuff as well, so the demos can be inside like installation spaces and stuff like that. So it's a lot of interesting stuff you could do with that.
I never thought of using VR for that. That's interesting. Like
Yeah,
for
virtual demo party is definitely on my to-do list at least, to be the organizer of that when the tech is there, but it's really not there yet. I
And
want to
like-
wait it to be a little bit better first.
like virtual concerts as well. I mean, imagine if you had microphone, you could be talking to the person next to you and watching a concert at the same time. That could be some interesting
Exactly.
stuff.
Yeah. Just a way to see how some of the big Twitch live streams have went. It'll be interesting to see the analog of that in VR later. Yeah.
Well, Limbo Duck is saying that Yellow did a virtual concert once. Well, virtual concerts have been done before, but I mean in
Yeah,
actual virtual reality space. Because I remember people doing concerts in Second Reality. Or Second Life, I mean. Sorry, got confused with
Second
it.
reality. That would be even better.
Second Reality VR is still to come. I'm
Yeah.
sure someone is working on it.
Interesting idea. Yeah.
This is definitely one of the better CNCD Fairlight cooperation demos.
Like imagine
Really
instead
cool.
of having a party live stream, you could just have a camera, a 360 camera, set up in the middle of the hall where
Oh,
everyone
yeah.
is sitting around, and you at home you just put your headset on and you're right in the middle watching the big screen and hearing people talking around you.
Yeah.
That would be like the ultimate demo party experience. And then have another one by the fireplace that you can socialize outdoors as well.
Mm-hmm.
So
It
the,
needs more
Like the
resolution.
ultimate sofa theming.
it's the ultimate sofa scener.
You can ignore it, do that.
See, but it needs more resolution. I think it's
Yeah.
missing something, just a small thing. But this is good. I think this is the best. The Vive. I really like it.
What's the
best
resolution on
demo,
that one?
Resolution. Don't know, between 2-3 megapixels, but it's too high. Yeah.
Yeah. There's actually a startup company in Finland that just came out of like secret mode, and they announced that they have a one that's gonna do like perceived 70 megapixels. So if it actually works,
70
it's gonna be
megapixels?
yeah, 70 megapixels, which means basically no visual artifact. It's like 2020 vision in American speak. So if it actually works like they're saying it is, it's like ex-Nokia, ex-Nvidia, Rovio guys founded that company. So
But
Oh.
What kind of
you need to
beast
draw.
do you need to drive that?
I bet if it actually works, they have to have some sort of foveated rendering thing going on that actually only renders the part you're looking at, and some sort of strange new kind of panel. I don't see any other way of implementing that with modern panels, please. What we have right now. So I don't know. That's what they're saying. 70 megapixels. So I wouldn't be able to see pixels at that point anymore. It would probably look like reality to me, my shitty eyes at least.
It's too many pixels.
Yeah. But it's interesting if they actually can pull that off, what they're claiming they are. So we'll see.
Welcome, evil and not a real jazz musician, to the scene, to the stream. We really didn't want any jazz musicians on today, so we're happy that you're not a real jazz musician.
Yeah. Only funk or experimental.
I've been hearing a lot of Japanese fusion jazz albums lately, and like they're all from like the 80s, and they all sound amazing. It's very.
It is an awesome genre, definitely.
Yeah.
The way you say it, you're hearing a lot of them lately. Is that on purpose or is that just accidental?
I was on YouTube, you know, and YouTube playlists tend to go from related stuff, so somehow
Yeah.
I ended up there, and then I
You
just.
ended up in a Japanese jazz loop.
I don't know how I got there.
That's very strange, because yesterday I was actually thinking, I was in the toilet and thinking about it, because it happened to exactly the same thing happened to me. So I was listening to an album from Herbie Hancock
Nice.
live, it was all in Japan, and I was thinking, yeah, Japan is actually quite big on jazz. And, And I remember I used to have this thing on the Commodore 64, which was some sort of collection of music by a guy called Ryo Kawasaki. Yes, it's fairly
Interesting.
cool. And I used to think about a very, very long time ago. And I remember that, and I searched for him, and I found that he was also doing this sort of jazz keyboard stuff. It's funny, but I had exactly the same thought yesterday. Japanese jazz.
They are out there.
Nobi has been linking me some of that stuff, so I'm getting it into it a little bit. But it's interesting, very interesting music.
So how many hours worth of demos have we got in the playlist?
A lot. Yeah, I added like 30 demos at least.
We probably won't see them all. We will jump to the ones that we're talking about at the moment, but well.
Yeah, we'll get there.
One last thing before we commit to this. Stella? Who is it? Ya vi litones εδώ.
Really hot in here today.
It's been hot all week in Portugal.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah. It was like the hottest day of June in like the recorded history in the UK today, literally. So this was the hottest day ever in June.
I guess the heat wave went from Portugal to UK.
I guess.
That's it.
Yeah, when it's plus 30 in the UK, there's something wrong with this world because it's never hot in the UK. It's always rainy and it's always windy, except today for some reason.
That's not really.
Exactly today is a weird accident.
No, it depends where you live in the UK. If you are in the north or south, it's okay. It doesn't have to be hot every day.
Yeah, but they're literally breaking June temperature records of the history of measuring temperature in the UK. That's what I read in the news today. So, yep, it was hot today.
There's the great British tradition of just complaining about the weather. So too hot is good, too cold is good, rainy is good.
Finally, it's too hot.
The hottest day ever. It was on a day that I missed it. The hottest day ever in the UK. It was the August 2003.
Oh yeah.
I missed it because I was at my first assembly. But then
So you were lucky.
Well, in a way, it was hot before and after, of course. But one of the hottest, if not the hottest day in Finland. I was there in, I think it was 2010 or 11. It was when this guy, the sauna competition, one of them died.
Oh yeah, that one.
Oh yeah.
The Russian.
That was something else.
Yeah. Not very clever. It was also very, very. Yeah, I remember. Wow.
Yeah.
I thought turning the light on might be less red, but no, I'm very red.
Yeah. You're also very shiny.
Yeah. Now I'm shiny with a light on. Yeah, maybe I should have thought about the lighting. Yeah.
Something else in here. Oh, nice. I see you added my Neo Geo CD demo on the playlist. Thanks for that.
Yes.
That's a fun demo to make as well.
Goes down. Okay, I think we're ready for the show. It's like 2 minutes to go, but I think we can start.
Yeah.
So, welcome everyone to Mystery Demoscene Theater 9000 Season 2 Episode 3. Today we have with us Navis of Andromeda Software Development. We have Visy of shitloads, tons of demo groups. And we have evilpaul of 8-bit and some other groups that I'm probably forgetting about. So how are you guys? Hot like hell, I hear?
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah. It's too hot.
Have my compressed air here to give
You don't have one of those portable fans instead? Those are so much...
I actually.
It's around there somewhere. So, Navis, tell us, how did you get into the demo scene? How did you start?
Yeah. So I had my dad bought a Commodore 64 in about '84. I was 6 years old, and on the first day that he managed to put it together with people used to buy these and put them on their TV. They were like get the Commodore monitor, so it was really nice, all put together like a toy. And on the first night that I played with it, I thought, wow, this is what I want to do, graphics. Because I was really mesmerized by the characters under the keys. And on the Commodore 64 on the side, there are these hearts and circles and things like that. It was more interesting to me than the letters. So I started learning more about graphics and computer programming on my own. There's nobody around to help out. And eventually, and now I didn't know that you could go more colors than that. And I saw myself an Amiga, probably Amiga 500 or something, much later, like 88 or something. And I thought, wow, this is fantastic, but I can't buy an Amiga. So about that time, when I thought I'm going to jump into the PC, I saw a slideshow of images 320, 200, 256 colors. And for me, it's the first time that I saw so many colors at the same time. That was maybe 89, 90. I thought, wow, this is fantastic. And it just happened that the slideshow was called Demo 5. I don't know. So later on, I thought, I'm gonna make these things that move and rotate and animate. I had no idea that it was the whole code that does these things.
Navis, can you try speaking closer to the microphone? It's a bit, it can break up a little bit.
So I thought that, yeah, about that time on the PC, I thought, okay, that's maybe a good idea to start doing these things because some other people are doing. But that was before I even found out about, what is it, what other people are doing in the world. Which eventually I found out as I got into the feed on it. And into two, and we got some friends from my hometown, and we said we're making it right for me, but see German, Sweden.
Oh, you're breaking up again. Hold on, let me pause the demo. I don't, sometimes you break up when you're talking, I don't know why.
Yeah.
Yeah, so at the beginning, we were only try to copy things that we saw. And this was sufficient to get me all the way to the mid-90s to try to emulate other effects, but it was done in a very, very bad way because I was still learning maths and programming and so on.
Let me try to find the demo that you said was the first one that you did. Is this ASD counterfactual?
Yeah, yeah.
It's this amazing, colorful thing.
Oh, good. It's basically all the effects you would see in that year, I guess, or the few years before that.
I would say that these were the effects that you would see maybe 3 years before that.
What year
I like
was
the
this
title
one
as
made?
well.
What year was this?
I don't remember. I think it was 90. I think it was early 95 or 94, something like this. This was for a very first ever demo party in Greece.
Nice.
Was that what was that called? Gardening?
The gardening, yes, as in the gathering, the gardening. but it was done in 1 week. You know, they said to us, like, in 1 week we invite you to this demo party in the other side of the country. So I had to do something. I mean,
Was it a big demo party? How many people were there?
well, it was bigger than the demo parties in Greece right now,
Which are 0.
which attract 0 people. It wasn't very big. I would say there were about 4 demos presented, and there were maybe 40 people. And it was in a bank. We made
In a bank?
In a bank, yeah.
Like
And
a
a
real bank with a vault
Yes.
and stuff?
Yeah. It was abandoned.
Ah, okay.
Just
That makes a difference.
just to give you an idea of how small it was. So, and I
Okay, so
remember
Greece
that-
economy was already going downhill in 95. They were already with abandoned banks around and stuff.
Yeah, or they were moving somewhere bigger. So yeah, and they had a projector, which was great, but this demo wouldn't run on a projector because it has one crazy mode, which is 256 by 256 resolution, and just the projector wouldn't play it. So there was a monitor and the projector, and whenever it was switching, you know, people would look this way and
Yeah.
the worst with this demo is that I think that only once we managed to make it play with sound, because it was, I think it was relying on this, I think it was called Midas,
Midas
Mod-
player, yeah.
and I just never managed to get it to work correctly with this memory segmented, all this bullshit. My God, it was 90% crashes and 10% of doing something violent. It was horrible writing demos back then, if you didn't know what you were doing.
So did
Now
you
I
end up...
watching demos back then as well, because we had the same problem trying to make them run.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had all those custom auto-exact.bats
yeah.
to select different options, to have more memory, more extended memory, less space memory, and that kind of stuff. I remember doing those config files.
Yeah, but what was intimidating is that you go to this party and you see all the new demos coming from abroad, and they are so much better. You think,
yeah.
oh,
So what motivated you to continue and end up, you know, winning assembly and that kind of stuff?
I was so impressed by the demos coming from assembly in 94, 95. That I
Do
thought
you
one
remember
day-
any demo in specific that really, you know, made you want to try harder?
I remember a demo that made me stop, because I stopped for 2 years doing any work. I was just watching.
What's the
And
name
the
of that
demo-
demo?
Machines of Madness from Doobie.
Machines of Madness. Let me add it so we can everyone can see why
Yeah, well, I mean, it doesn't look crazy now, but back then it was like shadows and reflections and
yeah, all advanced 3D stuff.
I think I ever seen that, so it'll be interesting to see
I
that.
think it's a
Of course you
winner
have.
from assembly. And they also managed to do this motion blurring, which now it looks
Yep.
terrible, but back then it was amazing. So yeah, I stopped for a bit, and then I thought, okay, I learned OpenGL and C, because everything up to this point it was Pascal and assembly. Of course, I think most people were doing the same thing.
Yeah,
So
I
then-
started with Turbo Pascal in assembly as well.
So we got onto Windows in 2001, and we made a demo for the new party in Athens, and then go to assembly, and one thing brings the other. It was a combination of very good luck, and I say luck because in 2001, I spoke to a guy who was very key in the success, let's say, of ESD, and this guy was a music. Okay. And I said, look, we work together, and he's really good. It's not just the music; it's just many other things to discuss. And he's like tenacity. We keep doing, long demos to have things. So it was a good. It was also the other people.
Okay. Good. So what's at what point did you feel like, okay, now this is something I'm really proud of, like a demo that you're really proud of having made?
I mean, the big demos for assembly are nice because you get this feeling because of the reaction of people, obviously. But I will tell you about the demo about two demos basically that we did. That when I was doing, I thought, oh, this is not good. But then I really changed my mind and I thought, wow, this I really like it. The first one is called Metamorphosis, which is my favorite demo from ASD, and I got it when we showed them at Breakpoint about 10 years ago on the really big screen, and it was very crisp and nice, and it tells a story. It's a demo that stands time. And the other demo, actually, it just happens that you were involved.
Oh, really?
Yes. So I did this demo called. So we made this like a big demo for assembly that I can't remember. Happiness is around the bend.
Happiness is around the bend, yeah.
Yeah, and then we did this remix. I was using your music, very ambient, and then the visuals, which are not for everybody.
Yeah, very glitchy, red, yellow.
But I've seen it a few times, and it sort of scares me. I don't know. I might be talking nonsense, but it really affects me when I watch it. And I remember that we took it at Maine in France.
Yeah.
And I wasn't there, and I thought, okay, it's a demo. Many things are happening, and the French people, they're full of culture. They will like it. So on Sunday, when it's the results, so they
got like fifth or something.
Third place, it is this. I'm thinking, wow, we got into the top two places. Second place is this, and I said, shit, I don't believe a glitchy demo won the competition. Something like first place is this, and I said, what the fuck is going on? So I go after that, and I find that it was like 7.
Yeah.
And they told me
got
that
terribly placed.
Stop it, take it down. It was,
yeah, welcome to the world of PS. That's why they say that I kill demo groups, Whenever I do a demo with someone, it always ends up placed really low because it's always so experimental. So
yeah,
I did that with the TPOLM, with Farbrausch, with you guys. Even with Still, when we did that demo, it was also played badly, despite it being pretty decently. But I didn't know you rated that demo as one of the 2 most important ones. I thought you would pick some of the other more experimental stuff that you did. I was assuming you would go for more experimental. I knew you liked Metamorphosis a lot.
Yeah. I don't know. There are many. Some of them I love equally. I don't like the big demos, not because I guess technology moves on and things. In general, I like the demos that for some reason they manage to are beyond time and technology.
Yeah, I'm forced to agree. We have another demo from you lined up, which is Mrs. Escher's Nightmare. Can you tell us a little bit about that? What was the concept behind that?
Yeah. So, in my previous job, I was very fortunate to be doing some research. Actually, me and Paul worked in this job for a couple of months together.
I didn't know you guys worked together, actually. That's very interesting.
for a couple of months. Well, this job was like a revolving door, so many people came and went. So it's
Okay.
it's
It
coincidence.
came and went quite quickly.
Yeah, these things happen. It's fun. I think you went to do better things. Well, but yeah, I had the luxury of doing some research that I could use as a conceptual demos, which is the reason actually I kept the job. It was very interesting to do that. And one of the things that I was trying to do a Kinect, the real-time Kinect drawing thingy with outlines, which I used eventually in Monolith last demo in December. Which is this concept. But one of the things that I discovered on the side is that actually, hold on, if I do rendering of 3D geometry as splines, make my own rasterizers, then I can take the whole thing as one big spline, and then I can pretend that I'm drawing. And I think that would be cool. The only problem is how. It's a big. You have what you're drawing. So, moving without losing where you're at the end of the day. This is a big spline constantly changes its length based on what the object is. But if I have an object which is not shaded, which means it's lines, then it fades. It's not shaded anymore. That means that it would jump. So this is the biggest problem. You don't see it at all because I don't remember. So I thought, okay, that's enough of the materials to make a small house. So
Navis, it's hard for the people on the stream to understand what you're saying. The microphone keeps breaking up. Do you have like a headset or something that you can try using as a different mic?
No, it usually works very well. I will try to speak slower.
Yeah, it seems to work if you just lean into the computer. When you lean back, that's when it starts breaking up.
Yeah, sorry. Okay. So we thought, okay, let's do a demo for the Euskal party, and just use that.
What's your thing with the Euskal party? Do you just go there for the money, or do you actually enjoy the city, or why do you keep going to Euskal?
There isn't enough money. There isn't enough money there. Now, definitely, but even before, when I used to go every summer, there wasn't enough. I think that eventually, the most that I got in my pocket was 500 euros, but the trip itself is maybe 250 euros or more. So, what I like to do was it's different every year. You know,
different how?
Different way. I mean, okay, one year we will go to see Ivan Medicine. Yes, and we will do a trip of Spain. Another year I will say I will go on my own and just be with myself and think about my life. You know, look at my old IRC logs and remember things I used to say 15 years ago. You know, like a break. But also it's for the Demoscene stuff. Okay, you go there and it's very unassuming, you know. You can do a bad demo. Nobody will say, "Oh, we're really disappointed." Okay, we put 3 days in this. It's not bad. It's summer, you know. So it's a good vehicle, but I haven't done it for 2 years. And the reason is that at the moment I'm trying to be thinking of bigger things for demos. So. As I said last time we met, actually in Slovakia. Actually, I'm next. In demo, I'm going next week to play DJ.
Oh, really? You're going back to Slovakia, like something with Sven or your own?
With Sven, yes.
Okay, cool.
So, what was I saying? I'm trying to concentrate more on VR and see if it's even possible to do something on this. That would be quite nice and big. So, I guess like everybody, except certain people in Euskal party, you want to be making demos all the time, and you want to progress, and you don't want to be doing the same and same again.
Yeah.
That's so. In other words, I could do a big assembly demo like I don't know, Life or whatever.
Well, you did like 3 of them. It gets a bit boring.
But it would be boring for me.
Yeah.
And it would be boring for you. There's no point.
I think the assembly crowd wouldn't mind. They would still like it.
Yeah, I'm not sure it's boring for us.
And it's definitely those are not ASD's strongest demos. I actually picked Mrs. Escher because I really like it. That's like top 3 of ASD productions to me at least.
I mean, I prefer the experimental stuff more than those big project demos that you do for assembly, but I mean, I'm a minority. I'm sure that most of the people attending assembly, they expect, something that takes you 6 months of hard work, and, you keep thinking that this is the last scene, and then it comes back again, and more stuff happens, and you're like, when is this ever ending?
Yeah, well, we'll see. So as we were saying at demo bit,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it would be nice to have a demo in VR.
Mm-hmm.
So somebody will do it. Whether I will be the first, I don't know. Probably not. So assembly this year, we're not. I'm not going. You would know. So maybe somebody does it, and now it's easier with Unreal and Unity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's actually stuff for VR already, which are really similar to demos. One that I really like is the chair. That's almost like a demo in VR. But I was actually talking about the same thing with the guy from Youth Uprising, not Ferris, the other guy. Who's it again? Well, I was talking with him at the last stream demo party that we should do something for VR, but that never turned into anything. But I've been thinking about this as well since the first DK1, really. So there definitely should be a demo for VR. Yeah, Decipher. Decipher wanted to do a VR demo as well. So, but I haven't seen anything after that from him. So maybe.
Well, there was that combo at Revision where some people remade their demos to be VR, and it had a few entries there. It was sponsored by Oculus Rift, I believe. But I don't think there was like an original demo there. They were all like remakes of previous works. I could be wrong, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, there's no.
Okay, so
demo for VR at least.
I think that with VR, like I think that the successful, let's say successful productions are the ones that don't follow what other people are doing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think that with VR, it's not just following what other people are doing. It's like the whole paradigm of how you present a non-interactive, let's say, narrative in an interactive world. So I try not to watch actually people work from other people.
Mm-hmm.
Try to, maybe it's wrong, I don't know, but try to completely think how I would do it. And it's hard, but obviously I take time to write the platform, the pipelines, the graphics, and these things. I'm very lucky because my job is about doing these things anyway. So
Okay.
I guess it's maybe also have similar jobs where you can let's say leverage this time. Otherwise, it's impossible. It's hard.
Okay, so I guess we should be moving on. I'll just play Spin to end because it's one of the highest voted demos from ASD. So I think we should at least show one of those more commercial demos. And when I say commercial, it's always funny because it had the whole Jojo Moroder drama thing behind it.
That was funny.
Which was awesome,
really funny.
completely awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think we want to talk about that on live stream. I think enough time has been wasted on that on Poet threads already. So let's move on to other stuff. Visy, tell us about how you got into the demo scene. And
Well, that's actually funny because my early beginnings are pretty much the same as Navis. So I was 5 years old when we got the Commodore 64. And I was really interested in the games and the graphics and the loading screens and the music, and it just basically blew my mind that you could do something like that on a small box with a keyboard on a TV, and nobody really helping me to figure it out. So I spent a lot of time just trying to understand how it works, and learning English through that machine as well. Being like a little kid before even going to primary school, I picked up the basics of playing something like Gremlins. So it was a very huge combination of things, learning a new language, learning the first really way of self-expression for me, because I didn't really do drawing or anything like that. So the computer was really the platform.
No finger painting? You didn't do finger painting?
It
Come on,
never
everyone
really
does
was
finger painting. It's
It
fun!
never really was my thing. Computers have always been my thing. So I can remember, as far as I can remember, I know that I'm gonna do something on computer. This is gonna be my work, whatever it is. And yeah, it turned out to be that way. I do program professionally and I do demos. So that's the way I express myself most of the time.
When did you actually start making demos? Around what year? Do you remember?
So that took way longer. So in 2001, 2002 maybe, I started like imitating the demos I could find online. And my first demo party was like 2003 assembly. And the real good demos came out in 2005, 2006. So it took me a while to really get there. Mostly because my parents didn't really let me go anywhere before I turned 18. So I couldn't go to a demo party before I was of age.
That's
so
strange
that really
because
limited my life a lot.
in Finland they usually, you know, kick the children out when they're 16. They tell them to go live on their own. So it's weird that you lasted all the way to 18.
Yeah, and we didn't have a modem at home, so that also, I didn't get to call BBSs or any of that, so I was a latecomer to this stuff. But I always did my own games, even Q Basic in primary school and stuff like that, so I was doing a lot of stuff that was sort of reminiscent of that, but just with the local kids in the village and not really any like computer knowledge people. It was kind of a weird way to get into the scene, but I've tried to sort of make up for lost time by organizing 1 trillion parties and been to parties in 5 or 6 different countries and traveled around the world and all that.
Yeah,
so
compensate.
I tried to compensate a lot for that.
So
And
what
of
was
course,
your
all the
first
video
demo?
platform.
What was your first
My
demo
first-
that we can show?
The first real demo is the NES demo we wanted to do, because we wanted to do a demo that will actually win and what everybody will like, because we've done a lot of really terrible demos with other names. So this was Quantum Disco Brothers by
Quantum Disco Brothers. Okay, I'll play it when Spin finishes. So what can you tell us about that? How the hell is your first demo like an NES demo? Did you actually start coding NES? Did you? Because I mean, it's harder to develop for a platform. You don't have the computer there. You need a development kit and all that stuff.
Yeah, the way it actually happened was I was in like middle school, and one of my friends just happened to be like an engineer who had developed his own NES flash card, which was like the first ever anywhere, which is very surprising. I was like, okay, this guy has actually developed NES hardware, and I love the NES anyway. I had it since childhood, and I'd play all the games on emulators and stuff. So I was really intrigued by the fact that he had a flash card. So I was like, hey, I could actually make a demo for the NES now, and started looking on the internet. Like, I knew some programming for C64 and Turbo Pascal and C and C++, a little bit self-taught programming, but nothing really serious. Some little demos here and there, but not really released them anywhere. So I just started looking on the internet, found some NES dev forums, and just started programming by myself, doing graphics by myself, and then started asking some people on IRC on different channels, some like adventure game maker channels and stuff like that. So like, hey, I've been doing this NES effects tests and showing them the ROM images of that, and like, would you like to do graphics for me? And then through some of my friends, I found Ilmar K to do the music, and he had already done some chip music and tracker music for Surprise Productions. So he was like, yeah, this guy is already in the demo scene, and he's already done some tracker music, and yeah, he really took into that really quickly. He found it really interesting that I'd be working on the NES by myself.
How hard is it to find graphicians for your stuff? Because most of the problems I usually have when I'm doing code on a demo is to find an artist that can, you know, share your vision and do the stuff you want to do at the same time. So, well, how hard was it to do that, or to find that?
Yeah, well, it turned out to be pretty easy because I was already pretty active on those like adventure game studio channels and forums. So everybody knew me there. They knew that I've done some adventure games by myself, did all the graphics by myself. So it's like, okay, I'm just doing this art stuff on 8-bits. So would you like to help me with this? And they were already like really top tier pixel graphics. So they just turned out whatever I asked them to do. I like do this kind of graphics for me, and they did it. So
that was like, rather lucky of you.
Yeah, so I immediately just found the right people to work with.
Okay.
And yeah,
okay, so networking,
really fun
that's
to do.
the answer, I guess.
Yeah, I had the flash card for this, and I started doing this on an emulator and just like sending the ROM images on IRC, and my friend took like a mobile video of this with his phone, and yeah, it crashed and fixed this, and then I tried something else and sent him another ROM image, and he shot it with his camera, and it didn't work, and that went on for weeks and weeks and weeks until it started working. And then I loaned the flash card from him, like, let me just loan him, I'll test it at home, and just maybe it'll be a little bit faster if I have it at my place, so I can actually test whether it works. So yeah, turned out to be a real demo. We finished it on the same day the party started, and we released it and compo, and I think we got like 3rd place or 2nd place, I don't remember, but at least we immediately got some prizes for our first demo.
I'm gonna repeat the same question before the other two guys, for Navis and evilpaul. So how easy or hard is it to find a graphician to do the stuff that you want to do? I guess I'll ask evilpaul first, since he's been quiet all this time.
Yeah.
I always find it hard to find people to collaborate with. I think it's tough to. People are doing this in their spare time most of the time, so you can't ask too much, and it's hard to find people who are available at the same time you're available. People's schedules don't match. That's one of the hardest things for me. But yeah, it's hard to find people. Struggled a lot to start with. I think as Visy has said, it's like once you're doing stuff, it's easier to find people, and eventually people approach you, and that's even better. People want to work together. That's really good. But
Navis, what about you? What's your experience trying to find an artist?
Are we assuming that we're not using the artists from the demo group?
Well, if you have an artist in the demo group, how did you get an artist into the demo group?
So that's that's a different story, because everybody had a friend or asked for one, and they said, oh yeah, that goes back decades, like 10-15 years. But let's say that if you want to do a collaboration, I think it's easy to find somebody to do some music for you, but it might not be the best music. Not everybody is the best, of course. There are many people that will not.
Music is relatively easy to find because there are so many musicians. They always share their music, so it's quite easier to find. But to find a dedicated artist that actually draws or models stuff for you, that's a lot harder. At least in my experience.
Yes, it is hard. Okay, yes, of course, yes, because these guys are overworked. Usually, the good guys, they work in a factory, basically 9 to 9 or something, doing models all the time. And you ask them to go home and do some more modeling.
Yeah, they're not up for that.
I think it's also hard. It's maybe easier now to find artists to do stuff because there are less limitations, but certainly years ago, it's like, I need some art. Oh, and it's got to be in 3 colors, and the 4th color has got to be transparent, and it has to be this size, and you've lost their interest.
Yep.
How do you feel about buying resources?
Well,
I feel
I've actually
badly
done
about it.
Because we can buy art, and we can buy music. Is that against the? Is that against the Demoscene culture? What the thing is, I go to Turbo Squid and I give them $200 and I buy something, a fantastic setting. Is that good or bad, or what's going on there?
That's an interesting question.
I think what I've seen in the stuff that you've done, Navis, some models, I'm assuming they're ones you've bought, but you put your own style on top of them.
Yeah. Okay,
I think it's difficult when you're getting stuff from different sources is to get the consistency. So they, if you buy a model from here and a model from there,
Yeah, they
they don't fit. And you do a great job of kind of putting your own style on top of it, so everything fits.
Yeah, but okay. Beyond what we have done personally, let's say, is this acceptable or not? Because I could buy my way into a great demo. I mean, I would spend lots of money, but let's say that I want to do that. Is that
Well,
acceptable?
there have
Can I
been
pay you to
demos
write a demo
made in
for me?
Unity that use the assets from Unity, and the models bought from the Unity store. So technically speaking, they already exist, and they got some crap for that. Let me change this demo because you've already seen this. They got some crap for that, but I mean, you can do it, you'll get some shit, but if you credit it that, I bought this because I needed this model, you might even get some people coming to you and saying, okay, I make this kind of stuff, do you want to collaborate? So, that's my opinion right now. I don't know what you guys think, evilpaul and visy.
Well, I don't think money can buy talent, so there definitely still has to be a director of that demo that takes all those assets, whether they were made by your friend or they were bought for $1 million. It doesn't really matter because you still have to put it together somehow and direct the end result of that. So I've actually done a Unity demo as well, and I paid like 600 euros in total, I think, for all the different libraries and assets and the different tool sets I wanted to use for it, because I just wanted to learn like physically based rendering and how to do all that and motion capture and all that. So I spent a bunch of money on all those assets, but yeah, I just wanted to see if I can do all that by myself, basically. And it turns out you can, but it still wasn't a good demo because I didn't put enough effort on directing it.
They say direction is important somehow. Visy, your camera is stuck, by the way. Maybe you should try turning it off and on again. So, evilpaul, do you want to add something to this discussion, or shall we move on?
To the purchasing? I think
Yeah.
if you'd done it 10, 15 years ago, you would have been crucified for it. We've become a lot more open in what you can and can't do. Yeah, I don't see any problem with it. I'm asking Navis if I pay him, will he write me a demo and we'll call it an 8-bit demo? Is that acceptable?
No, not with coding. No, because the thing is, the difference is that the guys who made the resources and put it on TurboSquid or Unity Store, they didn't make it for you. They made it for many people, including you as a potential customer. While doing something, let's say, to be paid to do something specific, but you could only do it once, then it doesn't have any value, any say value. It's a different thing. That's why making a demo for a third party. Yes.
I think your mic's gone again.
Yeah. I think it's when you talk very long sentences that it starts to break up.
Yeah, for some weird reason.
Try to do like smaller sentences, or just speaking slower, maybe. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah. No. I was saying that it's a different thing if you do something for one person, and it's a different if you do something for many in a store like Unity Store.
So which one do you find acceptable? Do you find buying specific for the project acceptable and the other one not, or the other way around?
No, I find both. I don't have a problem with both.
Yeah, I think you should just use whatever you can to make a good demo. I mean, if you have a good idea, you need to get it done, just use whatever.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
just put it on the credits, and people will see. Okay, this person did that, and then he bought the other stuff. Okay, who cares?
But this is the eternal conversation, because when it got to OpenGL in 2000, people, including myself, were saying we can't cheat with rasterizers. It's cheating. You can't cheat with shaders. That's cheating, and so on.
And nowadays we just rip off shaders from Shader Toy, you change a few values, and you have a new demo.
We always do this. We'd like something to complain about every few years. There's a new thing to complain about, and then it becomes acceptable.
Gotta be something that you can call lame at some point.
Yeah.
I
We have
guess
to separate the elite from the lame somehow. So.
you use Shader Toy. Have you heard of the GLSL sandbox?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I heard about that.
Yeah, well, it's like Shader Toy, but 10 times worst experiments, let's say. It's basically just experiments. So Shader Toy is a nice polished stuff, but the sandbox is like, and there is one where it's a fractal basically, but it looks like, you know, an act of sex.
Oh yeah,
With an
porn one.
let's say. And they have taken it, and there is different editions for palettes, for rotating, for everything, and they get obsessed about sex and shape.
Okay, so let's move on with this talk. First, we have a request from the chat. Someone wants to see a Pico 8 demo. So who can recommend a cool Pico 8 demo?
Rez has
that's
a
an
really
8-bit
good
one
one,
as well.
I think.
Res, Pico 8. Let's see if I can find it. Oh, I find Zepton, but Zepton is the game, so
It's
it
the
doesn't
game,
count, does
That's
it?
the 8-bit demo as well. You can show that one.
Okay, let's
Like
see if I
that
can
one as
find a
well.
link to that. Because we do now have a Pico 8 category on Puet, so it's a lot easier to find stuff. Let me look for it real quick. Meanwhile, Visy, tell me about, you know, how you graduated from doing crappy demos into doing the demo that you are most proud of.
Yeah, that's actually a really negative story. So I literally got death threats from people because they didn't like my demos. I literally got people telling me I should kill myself in email. That's how much they hated the stuff I did.
That sounds lovely.
That
got a
really
reaction.
that's really put me off from demo scene for a few years. But then I just
But
decided,
were they demo sceners themselves, or?
yeah, I know those guys, and I made peace since. I wouldn't name any names, but they know who they are. But yeah, I got some death threats. I really took them seriously for a while. I didn't know it was like they were just kidding. I just took them seriously. So that really depressed me for a while. But yeah, I got over it. And at some point I decided, like, fuck those guys, I'm just gonna do whatever I want. And I've been doing that ever since, I guess, just trying to please myself.
Getting death threats for making demos. That's
was-
awesome.
Yeah, that really taught me that demo sceners most of them are really just broken people and depressed
But,
people.
I mean,
and they have their
can
own
you-
problems to deal with.
But what was the logic? Because they didn't like the concept of the demo, they didn't like the technology versus exploration, or they just didn't
Thought
like
they
you?
were really amateurish, lamer shit. I think that was their approach, and they weren't that interesting. They were just copying whatever everybody else had done really poorly with like Turbo Pascal or whatever. So I can understand why they didn't like them, but those death threats definitely weren't like what I needed at that point. So let's put it that way. So
did
that's
you-
like even the adult people, they can be extremely childish and just don't know what the fuck their actions, what kind of effects they might have on other people. So yeah, that's always kept me very critical of demo sceners. I love demos, but I'm very, very critical about the people who make them because I already know them. They're kind of broken people inside. So there's a lot of great
Ooh,
people.
that's
Don't
deep.
understand me wrong. There's a lot of great people in the demo scene, but there's a lot of broken people as well.
And that's general for all kinds of people, not just creative people.
And with
They're on the demo
subcultures,
scene.
you get a kind of weird.
I think that there's a reason behind that. That's because people are so passionate about it, and it's something so personal for them. It's like part of their lives. So if you're trying to do something that makes fun of that thing that they hold so much value on, they feel like they're threatened. You know, that you're making fun of them directly because you're making fun of the thing that they love, and you're saying that the thing that they love is something else, and that is like, oh my god, no, I have these values for 10, 20 years. It's not that.
Yeah.
You are wrong.
Yeah,
I'm not wrong.
My reaction definitely was to be a kind of punk rocker about it and just claim all Windows demos are shit, all modern demos are just stupid bullshit, 8-bit demos are the best. The more lo-fi you go, the better it is. The more joke demos you make, the better they are. Just just as long as you're not too serious about and up in your own ass about it, it's good to me. And that's why I love ISO. ISO is my favorite demo.
Yeah, I was gonna say ISO for life. That's
ISO is because they've never taken themselves seriously, and even though I do a lot of serious demos, I just hate when people are too serious about making art, because to me art is therapy and having fun and also being really serious and exploring your creativity and all that. Really.
Okay, so a demo that you are most proud of.
The demo I'm most proud of is probably Doctor by Trilobit. That's definitely like the most purest kind of expression. It's kind of split between that and Core, but I have to say Doctor is the better one, because that's the one where I had a really clear vision of what it should be like, and Ilmar K did a really great job on the graphics and effects and all that. So I'm just really happy to do Atari demos, because before we started doing Atari 2600 demos, nobody's really done a proper like mega demo or like a track mode style demo, so we just basically invented that. So we didn't really have any rules or anything to follow, so we just made our own ideas about what the demo should be like on Atari.
Yeah, but PWP was already making demos. Wasn't Robotic Liberation and the other robotic demos released before?
Yeah, but that was VIC 20, so definitely that was.
Oh, okay, VIC 20,
right?
VIC 2600, okay, different.
Atari 2600 is kinda, you can definitely see a lot of just like influence from Visnut in these demos, because he definitely is one of my favorites in the demo scene, and he's always been a sort of inspiration for my work, so.
Yeah, PWP stuff is awesome. I love Visnut stuff.
Yeah, and Core is my other favorite, because it was my dream collaboration with Visnut. So he did the speed synthesizer and the scroller, so that was basically my favorite demo scene collaboration up to that point. But my dream was, I just want to do a demo with him, because he was the most interesting person in the whole scene to me.
Okay.
And still is, really. He's the main guy.
So where do you go from there? You retire, or you just try to do more demos with him?
Yeah, well, he really does his own thing. He's always been sort of one-man machine of doing this stuff, so we haven't really collaborated since, but there's always been a lot of discussion on PWP IRC channel about various topics and demos and ideas for demos, but nothing's really been able to top that idea yet, so we haven't done one since, but maybe someday we'll collaborate again, but I don't think he's against the idea, it just needs a really good idea first.
Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. I don't know, what other stuff can I ask you? Maybe we should jump to evilpaul, and then we can come back if there's anything else you want to talk. So, evilpaul, now that you are eating and you can't talk, how did you get into the demo scene?
I guess the start of it is similar to your other two guys. Parents buying a computer when I was 8. It was a Texas Instruments, which is a pretty horrible computer. Yeah, pretty horrible computer, and really, really slow.
You loved it!
I guess I was in... Sorry?
You loved it!
But it made me want to optimize things and make things run faster, and it made me want to cheat to make things run faster. But yeah, I kind of learned to program that. Games were probably the most interesting things. I learned to program games with some music.
And you learned to program on your own?
Yeah, I mean, in those days, most computers would come with a big thick manual that would have to tell you how to write in BASIC. And that was, I think, how a lot of people started.
I remember the manual for the BASIC of Spectrum, and it was pretty limiting, and I would always end up thinking, how the hell do the games do stuff so fast without realizing that there's something else beyond BASIC?
Yeah.
So, well, when did you get into assembler? Was it later on?
I moved on next to the Spectrum. It's the classic British home computer, and yeah, started doing BASIC, and very quickly realised that this is not enough. This is not fast enough, and you kind of hear about this magic assembler stuff, and then I didn't know about assemblers. I just knew about assembly. So it's, you start off by looking up opcodes, writing them down on a bit of paper, typing them in as numbers, as hex numbers, and getting that to work, which is a very slow way to write anything. But it's a good way to start. I think I probably discovered assemblers about towards the end of my Spectrum, and I moved on to the Atari ST. And neither of those computers really had much of a demo scene at the time, or at least
Were
not
you
that I was
just
aware of.
making games at the time?
I was making games mostly. When I got to the Atari, I was much more interested in music. So I was making visuals for music. I guess it's kind of like really primitive VJ stuff. In that, a bunch of visuals that you could control in some way and change the parameters and make interesting effects and kind of do that live as some music was playing. And then I'm not quite sure how I stumbled onto demo scene, probably from friends with Amigas, and saw all the Amiga stuff. Wondered why there was nothing similar on the Atari scene that I was aware of. But there just wasn't. I just didn't find anything.
Were there... What year was this? Were there any parties at this time?
This would have been early 90s, I guess. I think there probably was stuff out there, but I didn't have the internet. I didn't know about any of this stuff.
There was this drop on the UK scene, from what I'm aware of, that you had parties up until the early 90s, and then they just disappeared, and they only started having parties again in 2000s.
Yeah, I think that's very true. So there wasn't a huge scene, or certainly not that I was aware of. What got me back into it was I always wanted to work in games, and eventually I got a job in a games company in the mid-90s, and I had access to the internet, and I had access to a computer that was powerful enough to run demos, and I would just spend my spare time leeching demos from Hornet archives. Hornet was great. Just loads and loads of demos from there, run all the demos, and just get inspired by them. And there was the particular one that came out was Paper by Statics and Vic.
Oh yeah, that one was awesome.
And that was the one that made me think,
I'm gonna look it up. That was really great. It was one of my favorites as well. I kept playing it all the time. Had little paper planes.
We talked about earlier on having trouble getting demos to run on different people's machines and how much of a pain that was. And this was one of the first demos that just ran on absolutely everything I tried it on. And it was great because I could show that I could take this on a floppy disk because it was 64K, put it on somebody's computer and say, look at this is amazing.
Yeah.
And most people would sort of go, one or two people would go, that's amazing. But for me, this is the most amazing thing ever. I've got to do this. This is what I want to do.
When the scene comes to life, when the 3D scene pops up, it's really very cool stuff.
It's incredible.
I actually cloned a copy of this drawing thing here on one of the pre-demo scene things because I love this so much as well. Not the 3D stuff, of course, because I couldn't do that, but the pen drawing.
I remember when I had this as well, I didn't have a Gus at the time, so I couldn't hear the audio. It took me years to actually hear the soundtrack, watching it without any sound. Suddenly a surprise when the music came on. I think from there I kind of started trying to write PC stuff, and I spent quite some time trying to do that with not much success. I never released anything, and I found the trouble of finding people to collaborate with. I know I'm not good enough at the music or the art, and I just didn't know where to find people. I didn't really know that there was much of a UK demo scene. I didn't know where to find people.
Until what year?
This would have been like mid-late 90s.
Oh,
yeah. That's when the British demo scene was pretty much dead. There were no demo parties at all. There were sceners living there, but they weren't releasing anything. There were no parties.
Yeah,
everyone was just working on games.
Yeah. The stroke of luck I had was I changed to a different games job. I think this was 98 or 99. And I was sort of trying to see who was interested in demos, and I met this guy called Matt, who was quite interested in demos, and he'd apparently done some demos, and this turned out to be Format. And I had absolutely no idea who he was at the time, of his legacy or anything like that. It was just, do you want to work on some demos? Yeah, that sounds good. Let's do that. It was a couple of years before I kind of realised, who he was and what he'd done.
Format sounds like a really old person by now. Is he like 40 by now? Because I see things from him from like the 80s.
Well, I'm that age. I think he's similar age to me. I don't know. Yeah, I guess similar kind of age.
It's a real. It's kind of a legend. I need to try to convince him to join one of our shows sometime. I don't know if he's camera shy or not, but I will try at some point.
Well, I could suggest it to him.
Okay, that would be lovely. So what was the first demo? What was the first demo that you are really proud of doing, or the first demo you actually released?
So myself and Format tried doing a few demos on PC. We got a couple of artists who ended up not doing any art for us, the usual problem. And eventually I thought, this isn't going to work. I've got to try something more achievable, and I picked the Spectrum, kind of going back to my roots, because I thought this is okay. We can do the music, we can get away with mostly coder art. I got a friend who could do some bits of art for us, and that's probably enough. And we did Get Up was our first demo.
Okay. Let me load it up.
Yeah, and we kind of really put some effort into it, and picked a demo party that was Spectrum specific. Well, it was 8-bit specific. It was Forever in Slovakia. And we thought, we'll set that as our deadline. We'll get a demo. We'll make it as good as we can, and we'll aim to kind of get our name known by releasing something.
Did you know Gasman by now? By that time?
I think I'd met him on IRC. So he took the demo. He went to the party. I didn't go to the party.
Yeah, I was assuming that because Gasman always goes to all the Forever parties.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
as far as
I went there with him a year or two later. It's
very cool.
It's a good party. But yeah, this was kind of our start. We weren't 8-bit at that point. We didn't have a name.
And you were doing stuff for the Spectrum. Were you aware of the whole Russian Spectrum scene at this point, or of the Polish demo scene's Spectrum scene, for that matter? Or were you just doing your own thing?
Bit. Yeah, I was kind of aware of the Spectrum scene in general. That there was a whole bunch of stuff out there, and the Russians had these crazy Spectrums that were different spec, and they built them in their bedrooms. And
yeah, the Pentagons.
Different timings and disk drives and all sorts of crazy stuff on them. It seemed like a very different scene.
How did you do this demo? Was it mostly emulator, or did you actually...
Mostly, pretty much all of my stuff, Spectrum-wise, is developed on the PC under emulator. I went through a phase of like running stuff on hardware to make sure it works. But to be honest, I don't even bother with that anymore because the emulators are so good.
Yeah.
I think my Spectrum is in the loft. I think it still works, but I don't know.
Okay, cool. So this was like 2000 and something already?
2004. Yeah.
2004. So you're pretty late into the demo scene, but
yeah.
It's really cool to see more stuff for the Spectrum. I have to tell you. Because I was following the Spectrum scene because I had a Spectrum when I was a kid, even though I can't program it, and I knew the Russian guys, and I always thought, okay, Spectrum scene is completely dead, only Russian guys do anything decent. The Polish guys sometimes do a joke demo or something like that. They have parties, but, you know, they don't really do stuff. I knew Gasman was doing some Spectrum stuff, but I had no idea there were other active Spectrum sceners from the UK. And when I started seeing the demos that you guys did from 8-bit, I was like, oh, the Spectrum scene is actually alive after all. This is awesome. So
yeah, that was pretty fun to see.
That.
I was an instant fan of 8-bit as well, to see, oh, nice, more Spectrum groups.
There was a Spectrum demo party every year. I can't remember when that ran. It was from a guy called Ichabod. And he basically did it in his front room. And we'd have people from Slovakia, probably some Poles, be like half a dozen people would turn up, pile into his house for a weekend, and we'd watch demos and run a few competitions. Very limited stuff, but it was, I guess it's more the social side of it, these people getting together. I went to one or two of those, I think. They were pretty good fun.
Is it fair for me to say that the demo you are most proud of is Pimp My Spectrum, or do you have another favorite? Because this is the one I know the best about, or that I've seen best reactions for, but is it the one you prefer, the one you are really, you know, I'm really proud that I managed to do this?
I'm just going to say the thing I hate most about this demo is that I messed up the code that figures out the aspect ratio. So this is stretched horizontally.
Whoops.
Should be a square aspect, it's not. And that just, every time I see this, really annoys me.
Oh, you could do a
You
bug
really-
fix version.
We really had a good time in the compo seeing this and just like, is this for real? And just like speculated through the whole demo, like, how the hell did they pull this off? And like, okay, it's gotta be some sort of like minimum emulator stuff going on, and it is, I guess.
Yeah, it is. It's an emulator.
good.
Most of the code is written in Z80. Yeah, I've always, I love paper. I've always loved 64K demos, and we got to the stage where Fairlight, Fairbrash, Conspiracy had all kind of bowed out and said, we're not going to write 64K demos anymore. They were winning every competition they entered, and I think it got boring for them, and they stopped. And I thought, this is great. Then there are loads of new groups waiting in the wings. They're going to come through. There's going to be a whole new wave of 64K demos. They're going to be amazing, and they weren't. And I was still doing Spectrum stuff at the time, and I had a conversation with Gasman the year before at Breakpoint, saying that we could enter a Spectrum demo in the 64K competition and it would win. And we had a few beers. It seemed like a funny idea. And then I thought, actually no, that's a serious idea. That could actually work.
That can actually work.
So I came back next year, and that's where this came from.
Yeah, I really loved it. I thought it was awesome. And now we see 64K stuff coming up again from this last year. We've been having some good quality stuff again. And I will take this opportunity to plug that Assembly has a 64K compo again. So if you want to do 64Ks again, you have a party coming up with a high background of stuff doing with good stuff on the 64K compo. Fairlight released most of their killer 64Ks there. Conspiracy released some of their killer 64Ks there. So this is your time to go back and shine and revisit the glory days of Assembly 64K compo.
Who's doing stuff?
I have no intel. Does anyone from the chat know any secret stuff? I think Nobi was doing something with Branch for the 64K compo at least, but I could be wrong.
I've started to do a thing, but it's probably not gonna be finished because I have to move in the summer, so I'll probably won't have enough time to finish it, but maybe that will come out later.
I'm trying to do a 64K, but for Evoke, not Assembly. But I have to get this effect that I'm working on working, and if I get it working, then I can get the music and do some direction around it. If I can't get it working, then it's just fuck that shit. So we'll see. But yeah, okay, so evilpaul, but was this the demo you're most proud of, or is there some other?
I don't really know. You warned me you were going to ask this question. I don't know. I kind of like all of them. There's a whole bunch of stuff that I haven't released because I kind of
Not
do a
good
lot of
enough?
projects, and they get to a certain point and I think this isn't working. Just kill it. There's not. And ideas from those get recycled and they go into other ones where they're more at home. But pretty much everything I've released I'm pleased about. I am happy to release it.
Okay, so
some of them
what
are
other
much
demo
simpler,
can we watch now that this one is almost ending?
Transform was another good one.
Okay, let's
That
see if I
was
can
kind
find
of when... So, Pimp My Spectrum came out, which was PC, and I thought, actually, I quite enjoyed writing PC demos. I quite enjoyed writing 64K PC demos, so Transform was when I kind of decided to jump fully back into doing PC coding.
Is this text mode?
No, it's just some low res. So it's kind of a play. It's basically 8-bit transforming from doing 8-bit demos into PC demos.
Okay,
So-
I'm not sure if I've seen this before.
I've seen it. I actually quite liked it at the time. I remember it.
Yeah, so this was Assembly 2009. And again, I kind of have to big up Format's work on this. When we were discussing what we wanted to do with this demo, we decided we wanted kind of like almost like a mixtape, I guess, in that there's a bunch of different effects and the music is different for each effect. So it's not one tune all the way through, it's lots of different tunes. And we also wanted, everybody was using soft synths at the time, and I like soft synths, but I'm bored of soft synths. We wanted samples.
For 64K you can afford samples.
Yeah, so we used a mod player, and Matt did. I don't really know how he did it. He did an incredible job of fitting, vocal samples in. And I can remember he gave me the mod. The mod was like 200k or something, and you compress it and it goes down to about 20k or something ridiculous like that, because he had done it in such a nice way.
What compressor did you use for the samples?
Didn't use anything. I just used K-Crunchy for the whole thing.
Okay.
Oh.
K-Crunchy does
because I remember back in the 90s there was actually some research to try to minimize 64Ks as much as you could, and you would always use sample stuff because soft synths weren't very hip yet. So there was a lot of focus of people trying to compress samples, and they would even do samples that are based out of other samples, so they would only have to compress the differences between them. So there were a lot of small stuff like that. And recently Wister asked on Twitter, he was trying to figure out how to do sample and sample compression, and I figured that maybe this would be a nice topic to bring out on the stream. So if anyone has any hot tips on how to compress samples for 64K music players.
One of the things is to not care about it, because I thought we were going to have to do that. I thought we were going to have to do some custom compression to get the samples down. We were going to have to chop them up, make them horrible, and we put all the code in and it fitted. It's like, okay, don't need to do any of that stuff. It works.
There's also the sort of fusion approach to this. Vesturi did this on Amiga, so on a 500 demo he has a soft synth, but he just pre-calculates the sample. So in the beginning of the demo there's just a 10-minute pre-calc where he just generates the samples with a soft synth and then just plays the samples while the demo is running, because he can't do the effects and the soft synth at the same time. So he just did it that way instead.
Yeah, but then you go on, Navis.
Are you using OpenGL for this demo, the transform? Direct.
DirectX. Pimp My Spectrum was OpenGL, but just as a frame buffer. Otherwise, I prefer DirectX.
You prefer it? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't remember what I was saying anymore. So this is Singularity by MFX currently playing. People on the chat, if you have any questions for any of your guests, this is the right time to ask them. So if you want to ask about how Navis did all his Kinect capturing stuff, you can not do it because he's tired of answering that. If you want to ask how Visy did his Neo Geo CD stuff, you can also not ask him because he's also tired of talking about that. But any other relevant questions that you might have, this would be...
And it's not very good, I was going to say television. This isn't television. It's not very good broadcasting, but we should all just keep quiet and watch this.
I can do that because I love Singularity.
I absolutely love this.
Great music.
I've always loved MFX, and this is one of their.
Shout.
This is one of the great examples of. This is like a really old school demo effect. It's an object, a 3D object in the middle of the screen with a camera rotating around it. That's it, and some music. It's really simple.
3D flyby in space.
Yeah, it's just an object in the middle of the screen with the camera spinning around it.
Yeah.
There's nothing more to it than that, but it's just done so incredibly well.
There's a name for this kind of MFX demo in Finland. It's called a Nikko demo because Uncle Axe makes them.
So Navis, you have a question. Are you coming to assembly? I think you already answered no. Are you planning to do so again in the future, like in 2018?
Yes, I am. It's just not this year. It was a crazy year. I need to learn things.
Not a Real Jazz Musician wants me to play H+. That's a good selection as well. So, evilpaul, do you have any tips for people wanting to learn how to code in the Speccy? Like, where do you start? Because at some point I wanted to start, you know, the same way that I wanted to start Amiga coding and then I never did. I had a similar thing with Spectrum. I wanted, okay, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna get myself an assembler book, and then, you know, I don't do anything because I don't know the tool chain of stuff. And I asked Elf and he just said, okay, just get an emulator. I'm like, okay, and what do I do next?
I don't know. It's a hard platform to get into. I tried to get into C64 coding, and 6502 just doesn't make sense to me. It does not. And I think the barrier to entry on C64 is high because there's such great stuff out there. I kind of feel like I want to do something good.
Well, we actually have seen a lot of new sceners. There were sceners on PC. They're trying to get into C64 and doing some, you know, first intros with a scroller and one single effect. So it's interesting how many people are still interested in learning that platform, and not as much as I would hope to see on the Spectrum.
I have a question. Now that you mentioned C64, if you follow what games were published on the Commodore 6, I think Commodore 64 was made in 98, 81, something like this, like more or less.
Early 80s.
Very early 80s, yeah. And now, if you look at what games the big companies were making, you can see a progression in terms of quality from 82, 83, 84. I would say 82, the first games were almost ASCII characters kind of games. Then really blocky graphics. Then eventually getting better and better. You had things like, I don't know, counter progression, some big sprites, big fast.
You're breaking up again, Navis. You need to speak slower.
Okay. So, the very modern games, demos for the C64 would run back in 1981.
Yeah.
I cannot
it's insane.
comprehend it.
Yeah.
It's a great chipset. That's the only thing you can say about that. It's a really great design for a chipset.
Well, just imagine if there was one genius that could do it back then. It would just change the future.
I think this is the dream of all old school coders. If you could travel back in time with your knowledge.
Exactly. Yeah.
But was it?
I could get a job at Nintendo.
Yeah.
Was it because people didn't know these tricks? Or
I think some of it has come down to it's easier and faster to develop now, and you can use for Spectrum demos, for instance, you can generate a bunch of stuff on PC, so it's pre-generated. If you were to do that back in the day on a Spectrum, it would have taken days to generate that data. On a modern PC, you can do that in a second. So I think that's kind of made development faster. But yeah, I've often wondered why people keep finding new stuff for C64.
It just took a lot of other sort of previous work of other people finding some quirks of the hardware design, and other people building on that, and other people building on that work, and it's just a sort of evolution of ideas, and just like, okay, we already tried these things, maybe there's something else here, maybe if I do it this way, or maybe if I push this port in this cycle, maybe something weird will happen. And also the development of emulators had a huge effect on it. And just the fact that you could pre-calculate stuff on PC and use cross-development to try ideas really quickly and have huge memory space for it. So I think that's been the case for all like 8-bit and 16-bit demos. It's just the fact that you can use the power of PC and just the like modern graphics algorithms as well, like development in 3D and all that has had an effect on that as well.
It's something simple like a rotozoomer. It wasn't even doable on the PC. I think the first one was Amiga, and it was quite a simple one. And now you can have it on the Commodore 64, and it's in better quality maybe than it was on the Amiga. or on the PC. It's amazing. I mean, really amazing. How the hell did they manage to do that?
Lookup tables, a lot of lookup tables.
A lot of cheating.
Yeah, basically a lot of cheating.
I'm sure, but why? Yeah, you are right. I mean, that's it. I mean, you have modern computers that can do pre-calculations. It's easier environment to work. You can crash and go back to it in seconds. Tools, all of these things. But it's still amazing that it would run in 1981.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
Yeah, it's people just pushing it and still discovering new stuff. I remember it was Mahoney did the MP3 player on a C64 several years ago now.
Yeah,
That was
years.
just mind-blowing.
Yeah.
They're still...
MP3.
and that's why 8-bit demos never really lose their interest to me, even as time goes on, because there's always some new kind of approach or new style you can do. It's like painting with just the two colors. You can always, like, when you're limited enough, you have to start to think really creatively, or just to have a new kind of approach, because you can't increase the number of those colors, but you might increase the way people see those colors, for example. It's very kind of different approach to demo making than just pushing the GPU or getting a better GPU or getting a better API to do it.
I used to think on the Commodore 64 that they will never be able to write on the border, but that was a simple thing. It was a solved problem by really early on.
I used to think the same about the Spectrum. After seeing people doing it on C64, thinking, well, you can't do that on a Spectrum, surely. Yeah, you can.
You can play the SID on the Spectrum.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can't do anything else.
But you can!
But you can do it.
Yeah.
So, evilpaul, what's your take on that new ZX Next that just came out? Did you get one, or not really?
No, it seems interesting, but it also seems like a bit of a rabbit hole that you could easily disappear down for years.
Should be out in 2018. I ordered mine, so I'm getting one. Let's see if I finally manage to get into Spectrum coding with that.
Yeah. I can help you if you want to learn. I've done like one Spectrum demo, so I know the basics of it.
Okay, we can do a new demo group and do Spectrum stuff.
Yeah,
Why
I'll
not?
join too. Let's do a collaboration.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
We have a plan for 2018.
Yeah.
Okay, the people in the chat, do you have any questions? Because if you don't, I'm gonna end the stream rather soon. I have one last request, and it's for Navis. Navis, I asked you to ask your little girl what demo we should play.
Unfortunately, I didn't manage to get it because she had to practice piano, and
So what is her usual favorite demo then?
I remember the demo, but I don't remember
Bad parents, bad parents. You don't remember the name.
Candytron.
What is it?
You can
Candytron.
describe it.
Candytron. Okay.
Candytron.
Candytron.
Gross.
That's what it's called, Candytron.
That's a bit naughty for a little girl to like.
Well, it's I don't know. It's nice colors and everything. Obviously, she's a bit biased with the demo that we do here, but
Do you show her your stuff before releasing? Like, is she your...
Sorry?
Do you show her the demos that you make before you release them?
Yeah. Like parts, and I'm saying this will go there, but she's still quite young. She's not. She doesn't quite get why I do this, or what's the point and everything. I mean, I am doing things for work on the VR, which you could say are like actually demos. But unfortunately, nobody can see everything because it's very, very special. These are they look quite nice in VR, but she's still not that impressed by it. So it's very hard flying.
Children are the hardest to please.
Can I answer the question in chat? Somebody in Metal Bot, I guess. People are asking, what do you think of Kevin? And I really want to tell my opinion on that demo because it was a big, shocking release.
Please do. Tell us what you think about No Kelvin.
I think Kevin was a really important demo because it just showed that some people just don't have a sense of taste that can take something that dark and black and sort of really go into that dark humor and just really push the sort of uncomfortable edge of what you can do in demos, because people are really comfortable with doing stuff like this, which is extremely objectifying to women, in my opinion. Even though this is a great demo, this is like the worst kind of objectification you can do of the female body and not really give any sort of agenda to that. Sort of just like a puppet of a woman there. But Kevin, to me, is like the ultimate agenda in demo, because there's just simply no rules in that demo. It's just meant to disturb people, and I love demos like that are just not meant for the audience, or they're meant for people that can take the joke, that can appreciate that kind of dark humor, but there always be the kind of people that are really just pushes their buttons, and I really love that demo because of that, because it really riled people up, and I just want to see people get mad, because any kind of
I want to see people
emotions,
get mad.
I want to see strong emotions, because the worst kind of combo is where people say, yeah, it was kind of good, it was alright. I want to see people say like, yeah, it was the best demo ever, or it was like, it was the worst demo ever. That's the kind of demos I want to see.
Okay, I have one demo that I want to show, and it's actually a wild. It's from the Underground Conference, and it's by, well, it's this. I'm just gonna play it. It's by LNX.
This was great.
And it's like sort of a
Same
party
kind of thing.
report of what Revision was like.
Is
I
this
really
from this
think-
year?
Yeah, it's from Underground Conference that happened last
weekend?
weekend. Yeah. So maybe you
Okay,
might
haven't
not have
seen
seen
this.
it yet.
This is great.
So it's crashed, apparently.
Yeah, people didn't like this either, so this is a good one as well.
What the?
I just can't not laugh and watch this. There's so many in-jokes in this demo that it kind of bothers me.
There's the
There's some
no-go.
Kevin comments right there.
Kevin is everywhere. You can't escape it.
Yeah.
I was really surprised how Kevin got received, because I mean, when it was playing, people were like very positive, very negative, but after that, there was actually this whole discussion on Poet on the importance of having these kind of demos, and it was a more positive discussion than it usually is on this kind of stuff that is more controversial. If only Moki was here right now.
This is a production of bad taste.
Pedal Bear is coming after you.
This is just the perfect, every kind of bad taste thing you could put in one single thing, it's in there.
Truck is hitting Oki. Best blowjob ever!
Yeah, I think Demoscene really needs this kind of self-reflection from time to time to just hold up the mirror. to itself.
Self-reflection? Is that what this is? Self-reflection?
I think it is.
If only Moki was here. It's the weird thing with the name Moki is that it's very close to the name Oki. So you say Moki,
Yeah.
Oki, and you don't know who you're talking about.
It's so stupid. It's great.
Yeah, that's it. No, this one. Okay, this one's pretty good demo as well. A little more serious. It's a dark thing made by Guy, who won. what's the name of the party again? Was it QB party? It was a party in Hungary. Yeah.
Yeah, the ode to brutalism, I guess.
So I don't know, what other stuff do we have left to talk about? Are there any Demoscene news worth mentioning? Can anyone think of anything worth talking about? There is Nova demo party coming up next weekend, I believe. evilpaul, are you going there or not really?
No, I'm not going there.
What about you, Navis?
It's harder to get to than most European demo parties. Because it's in the middle of nowhere.
Isn't it the same location as Sundown?
Bodley Salterton. You must have heard of it.
It's where Sundown used to be, right?
Navis doesn't even know where it
It's
is.
the same.
I know, I've been to Sundown, but yeah, it's far away from. Where are you based? Where are you in London?
I'm in Kent. I went to Sundown from here once, and I drove, and just drove the whole way there, and it was good. But it's a long way away.
It's a long way. It's far.
Yeah,
we have such a small country.
From London there.
I know it's going to somewhere like Assembly or Breakpoint. I think it was quicker to go there than it was to go to Sundown. Might be exaggerating a bit, but it felt like it.
So upcoming demo, where is it?
It's this weekend, Navis, so if you have plans for the weekend, forget about it.
Yeah, Nova 17. Wow, I didn't even know about that. Well, it's right. Okay, so same place. Yeah, I have.
Okay, so confer with your wife if you can have a little day out. And if you can, you should drop by because I hear it's a nice party, or it will be a nice party.
It's
I
a
think
new
it's
party
the
as
first.
well.
Yeah, it's the first
The fish and chips.
edition.
Fish and chips and the beach.
Oh my
That's
god,
great.
it's so far away. It's like.
Yeah, it's on the coast. It took a while, like 3 hours to get there by bus.
But
from
you
London.
enjoy the
It was
scenery.
We saw Stonehenge from the bus window, so that was fun.
Enjoy the sea. You can go and swim there now. I mean, today, tomorrow, it would be nice day to go and swim. And no, it's not the Mediterranean, but still, it's good enough. It's so hot.
We might
kinda
actually be
struggled.
able to do that now.
We kind of struggled for years trying to get a UK Demoscene party going, and it just it's trying to find somewhere that's a decent venue that, you know, we could probably have got one going in London, but then it would have been phenomenally expensive. And Rory just stepped up and said, well, I can do one down by me. And it's really good to have Sundown and now Nova. It's great to have a UK Demoscene party.
Yeah.
No, as you said, that the UK Demoscene kind of died. Sundown is one of the things that's brought it back, I think, and got everybody together again. It's mostly through sort of IRC and then the UK scene IRC channel, then moving on to Sundown. The UK scene has come back, which is great.
Okay, so this is the final version of the popular demo, released this past weekend at Underground Conference. You can see it has an updated visual, and it can't get any better than this. So if you want more popular demo than this, you can't get it.
Only Workzoic makes it possible.
Yeah, this will be the last demo we play on this show, so if you guys on the chat have any last questions, ask them now or forever be silent. Quick question, plans for the future. Already hear that Navis is working on some secret VR stuff. You're working on some secret VR stuff, what about...
It's breaking up.
Okay, I'm asking plans for the future. You were working on some secret VR stuff?
Can't hear.
Yeah, we can't hear you, PS.
You can't hear me at all?
No, you're very, very quiet and breaking up.
Oh my god. What about now? Can you hear me now? No.
Is it about my secret VR stuff?
Yes.
What do you want to learn?
I was just asking what are your plans for the future overall, and like in the demo scene.
I want to do a while with the VJ stuff. Hopefully recorded this week. That's coming.
And that's it?
And then I want to make a nice big demo on the 5.
Okay. What about you, Visy? What's your big plans for demo making?
Yeah, I have this like intro idea in mind for PC, like modern shader stuff. So that's probably coming out at some point if I get it done at any point.
For assembly?
Then do more 8-bit, probably not assembly, but some other party when it's done. But yeah, do more 8-bit stuff, experiment more, do demos that nobody has done before, if I can do those.
Okay. What about you, evilpaul? What are you cooking?
I have a couple of things. I have a specky demo that's, I don't know when that's going to be done. And I have a PC demo. I can't remember whether I started it last year or the year before. It's like the slowest thing I've ever made. And it's really frustrating because I really like about 75% of it, and then the last 25% of it I don't like. So I keep wanting to think I'm going to throw this away and start again, but I've kind of invested so much time in it now. It has to be finished, so I'll probably finish that and just release it somewhere as something. I kind of have this rule that for 8-bit, the only rule we have for 8-bit is that we have to release one demo every year, at least one demo. Yeah, I don't know whether Matt knows about that. This is my rule. Luckily, he normally comes along and releases at least 1 or 2 things a year, so it's okay. But, yeah.
And he always used to do those little experimental stuff for Commodore 64 and stuff, so it kind of counts.
Yeah, like Wallflower and stuff like that. Yeah, that definitely counts. Yeah, it's great stuff.
So this playing right now is Oxano from Minimal, and I think it won a compo somewhere. Let me check real quick. So yeah, the winner entry from combined intro compo at Outline. It's also pretty good. And yeah, this will be the last entry we do before we end the stream. So if you guys do any of you guys have any last words you want to say? Anything you want to plug or anything like that?
Plug.
Nope. Nope. Nothing. Nope. Silence. All I hear is crickets.
I'm looking forward to the new Blade Runner movie. Hopefully that's gonna be good.
I saw the trailer of that. That seemed pretty good.
I wanna see that.
How did you like the new Ghost in the Shell?
It was really terrible.
Really?
It was a hack job of the original. The visuals were great, but just plot-wise, they just cut all the interesting parts of the anime out. I didn't like that. It was
different. The storyline was different in itself.
Yeah.
I was going there with your attitude, and then halfway through the movie, I'm like, okay, this is not so bad. I can get behind this.
I love those voxel ads they did, like those huge 3D characters they had in the city. That was really cool. That was almost like from a demo, so that was fun to see.
Okay, so I think that's it for Mystery Demoscene Theater Season 2, Episode 3. Thank you guys for joining. I'm gonna stop this thing here. Or apparently you're playing Alpha Design. So thank you guys for joining. Navis, Visy, and evilpaul for being our guests today. Thank you also all our viewers that showed up and participated today. See you again in 2 weeks. If you guys have any suggestions of people that you would like to see on the show, please get in touch, send me a mail, send me their contact so I can bug them to show up. And yeah, that's it. See you in 2 weeks. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. See ya.